What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great day. I'm doing all right. I'm going to get right into today's video, shall we? So this is going to be Conspira-TEA. Conspiracy theories, Conspira-TEA. Drinking the tea, spilling the tea, sis. Conspira-TEA, episode 1. So what the video is really called is Putting Soy in Everything to Yield Mass Low T. Low testosterone, okay? So it's about how they're putting soy in everything in order to yield mass low testosterone, in order to yield low testosterone in the masses, okay? So in this conspiracy theory, we will analyze the thought that the elites are intentionally lowering the testosterone levels of the masses in America, okay? Number 1, lots of soy in products. If it used to never be this way in the past, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever, it was not like this, okay? They start adding. Their first mistake is they're adding everything to food now. Like, food used to just be food. Like, when you were eating food, you're like, oh, I know what I'm eating, and that's all. It's not like that. It's not that simple anymore, unfortunately, right? But they're definitely putting soy and soy protein and soy lactate and soy, all these weird things, right? So you think, oh, okay, soy can be pretty healthy. But in large amounts consistently, it actually, what it does is it takes your male component, testosterone, and lowers it, because what it does is it actually spikes the female one, which is estrogen. So if you're a male in your 20s and 30s, your testosterone is probably in the lower to mid range if you live in America, right? Hopefully. And if not, if you're a victim to eating and ingesting and drinking these things, it's going to kill it. So what happens is, here's high level, here's low level, you're around mid, let's just say mid. And your estrogen is pretty low because you're a guy, so you don't like estrogen. Yeah, bye-bye estrogen, we don't need you. What happens is it starts to switch the scales, okay? Now everything's switching. Now you got all these people who are like 120 pounds soaking wet, and they're like, I could kick your butt if I wanted to. Bro, I'm sorry, your body language is telling me otherwise. Also, when they're flexing, you don't see anything. It's just like a string bean. It kills your body, but more importantly in this video, which I'm going to touch base upon, is that it kills your mind. It kills your drive. The testosterone gives men drive to wake up, to go to work, to do things, to pray to God, to connect to source, to do all these things, to transcend the basics of reality, and to do whatever it is that you have a passion for, okay? It kills that, and that's what they want, because if you have a drive and a passion and you're chasing it in life, you're going to break out of the matrix, and you're not going to be a good worker bee anymore. They want us to be good worker bees to help the queen bee, which is them, okay? And they don't want us to open our own businesses, to come up with our own intellectual beliefs, to change the narrative. You know what I mean? They don't want that. So how do they do it? And, oh, okay, well, what does everybody do? Oh, they eat food and they drink. So let's get to them through that way. So that's how they do it. And now they're getting so sick, you're going to see things like chemtrails in the sky because they know we all need to breathe oxygen. That's another way. So I'm not even going to get into that. That's another episode of Conspira-TEA. But this Conspira-TEA is episode 1. And like I said, it's about putting soy in everything, okay? So like I said, lots of soy in products. And number 2, most modern day men have become soft, okay? The phrase is soy boy. Oh, look at these soy boys. Because people know we have drawn a direct correlation between that being in the food and drink and people becoming a lot softer. It's not just the trans ideology. That's another topic. That's another way that they infiltrate. All of these have been vindicated in the last batch of the Epstein files. Do you get it? So all these conspiracy theorists are just taking massive wins all throughout 2026, bro, and it's not going to stop there. What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? Oh, I don't know, about 6 months. Yeah, so back into it. But why? Why would they do this? Let's just assume that it's the truth. Why would they do this? Oh, that's simple. Number 1, make men physically weak so that they will be easier to deal with if we were ever to rebel against them physically. It will make it much easier. You know what I mean? Number 2, the more important one, it will make men mentally weak. Not just physically, mentally, okay? So that there will be no real protests or overthrowing of these sick oligarchs who did sick stuff to children, and they're eating humans, and they're calling us all goyim and calling us cattle and saying we're less than human, we're subhuman, we're scum. You know what I mean? But this low testosterone makes men avoid confrontation. So it's one thing, like, I don't like confrontation, I'll be real with you. But if I have to do it, if somebody pits me in a corner and pushes my back in a wall, like, hypothetically, not literally, but like, you know what I mean? I'm drawing a blank right now. That's so dumb of me that I can't think of that word. But you get what I mean. Like, so not literal, but metaphorically speaking. There we go. But yeah, dude, when somebody pushes me into a corner, I have to push back. I just have to. So it's not an ego thing. It's not like, oh, my ego, like in my 20s, my ego was running with me. My ego took the show and took over and took the drive and the steering wheel, if you will. Okay, but not anymore in my 30s. I died to my ego many times in my early 30s during my spiritual awakening. Okay, but what I'm saying is they put the soy and everything to lower your testosterone, not just to lower your testosterone, like, you have to understand why. It's so that we won't protest as much. You see all these protests for No Kings rallies, those are all fake. And 80% of those people are there for a paycheck. That's it. So they're playing an actor. They're reading a script, bro. But then the other 20% of the people who see the rallies taking place and go, yeah, it's a good cause, I'm going to join. But they're looking at a fake cause because George Soros is paying everybody through hedge funds. You just don't get it yet, okay? But anyways, dude, but they're afraid that we'll do real protests, dude, like real, and they will last days, and they'll be in every major city, and we're just going to make a big difference in this world. They don't want that. So how do they minimize or even eliminate the risk of that, the risk of us standing up for ourselves? No, they don't want that, right? I just saw a clip of the Bug's Life, and they said that, like, if one stands against us, they might all stand against us. And that's exactly what it is, and that's why they do it. And that's why they put it in movies, dude. And we think, oh, it's fiction because it's A Bug's Life. Bro, they're doing it. They're showing you. You just have to be open to receive it. Do you get it, bro? But anyways, it makes men avoid confrontation instead of embracing confrontation and knowing, if I have to, I will. You know, if it is necessary. Okay? Those were the first two reasons as to why they would do it. Okay? Number 3, they're just rich and bored, okay? They are a group of narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths, okay, with a God complex. They think that we are all second-class citizens compared to them, and we are less than human. Do you get it? Okay, but out of those 3, the second one is the most important, okay? With mass low testosterone, people will think what they did to children are sick. But you know what? Someone else will take care of them. I don't have to do anything. That's somebody else's problem. Oh, well. That's what will go through their mind because of low testosterone. It really changes the framework. But somebody with elevated testosterone levels, that person would think what they did to children is sick. Sound familiar so far, right? What they did to children is sick. They're still doing it. And they'll continue to do so until we take a stand. I have to bring everyone together to protest this, at the very least. You see the difference? So only one of those thoughts will lead to potential action, and that's why they want to eliminate it. It's like this. This is not mine. I'm not that brilliant. Somebody brought this up. This saying has existed for a long time. 4 lines. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create bad times. Bad times create strong men. And then it goes and it rotates again into strong men create good times. So, such is the cycle of America. Other nations as well, but let's focus on America for now. We are currently living in the second half of this incredibly accurate statement. Weak men create bad times. This is what they've done. Intentionally crashing the stock market, the crash of 2008, more crashes, COVID, fakeness, everything. Comply and obey, this and that. You know what I mean? Weak men create bad times. Okay? And we're starting to segue from that into bad times create strong men, because we're in bad times right now. Let's just admit it. The American dream's dead. When my dad was my age, he worked 40 hours a week. My mom didn't even have to work. She did, but she did not have to. So two people raising one son, right? They only had me. I'm an only child. So they're raising me, okay? My dad worked full time. My mom takes care of the house. She cooks and cleans. She keeps everything up to speed. Then she also... Come on, bro. Then, sorry, I'm so sorry about that. Then, you know what I mean? She's cooking and cleaning and doing all that. And then, so everybody's busy, but they're doing their own parts that are their strong suits. You know, men are electric. They're supposed to get energy and get stuff done. Women are magnetic. Things naturally get drawn to them. Okay, and they're the nurturer, and men are the provider and protector. This is the natural cycle of a man and woman, and it worked fine. Just my dad working 40 hours a week, he was able to pay for a house that we lived in, 2 cars at all times, 2 cars in case my mom and me needed to go somewhere, 2 cars, a house paid for, extra money to go out once every weekend, or to go out to eat, or to go bowling or something, and then extra money in the bank in case we needed it. That was the American dream, bro. Now, 2 adults, both working 40 hours plus, usually plus, and it's not enough to own a house. Sometimes it's not even enough to rent a house. Sometimes 2 parents working full-time is only enough to rent a small apartment. Okay, and that's if you're lucky. That's if both parents can work a decent job. You know, this is how bad things are. There's no going out on the weekends. There's no extra money being saved in the bank. There's always debt. Everything has changed, bro. The American dream, dead. It's gone. I didn't get to inherit it. Thank God, at least I got to experience the fruits of it when I was a child. But now as an adult, I'll never have that. Never. Not unless I break through and I start getting money, like crazy money, like these YouTubers and stuff. But, you know, that's why I'm always working on a way out. You know what I mean? Don't just, like, work your jobs, you know, work your whatever, get well jobs and stuff, but always be working on a way out, because you deserve it. We all deserve it. That's why it used to be a thing, because God knows we all deserved it. But anyways, okay? The American dream is now dead. Wars everywhere, division, chaos, murder. Okay, so we are segueing into the bad times create strong men part of that. Okay, we are the strong men and women. Okay, we must stand tall and unite as one common people. That's what we have to do. It's the only way in order to bring about an end to these bad times and usher in a new age, the start of that cycle again, because strong men create good times. So it's up to us. If we want our future children to have a promising future, we must work overtime in this entire mess. I don't mean literal overtime. You know what I mean. We must put in the effort to make this change. Let's make sure that future generations cannot blame us for allowing the creation of a terrible future. Let's make a promising future for them. Just because we struggled and we didn't get that same American dream that our parents had doesn't mean we take it out on the next generation. In fact, it actually means we work harder to make it so the generation after us does get to enjoy the fruits of that labor, just like our parents did. I know that would stink for us because it means we were that only generation within 3 generations to suffer, but so what, dude? We can't change the past, but we can change right now when we can change tomorrow. So let's get to it. That's all I got in today's video. And until next time, stay safe, be blessed, and live lavishly. I'm going to see all of you in the next one, okay? Until then, just know that I love you all. Peace.